Jimmy Thang from GameSpot here at E3 2016. I'm here at Alienware's booth speaking with Alienware General Manager Frank Azor. And Frank, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
So we've been investing in virtual reality now with Oculus and HTCs pretty much since the beginning. And one of the biggest problems when you're in the virtual reality experience is having to worry about the cable. Even if you're in a seated experience, if you're moving around and stuff, you're turning around, that cable keeps bringing you out of that virtual experience and making you conscious of the real world again, and it really compromises the immersiveness of your experience. So we've been looking at ways to go and solve that. And one of the things that we've done is we've partnered with a company out in Australia called Zero Latency VR, and what they've done is they've taken our brand new Alpha R2 product that we just launched yesterday, actually. We've been working with them on this for a few months, and they've created a backpack solution where they slide an Alpha R2 over here in the top of the backpack. All the cables and everything come out the top. They connect directly to your head-mounted display, and they can support pretty much any head-mounted display out there. And then they have a large battery pack over here that allows them to create a free roam VR experience. They're basically taking the entire compute, putting it on your back, and now they can create this experience where you can have 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5 players in a virtual world, basically in any type of an environment. You're basically in the Matrix, right? You have free roam ability. You're not constrained to that 4x4 space, for example, that you may have to work within with Oculus Touch or with HTC. You can walk within a 300 square foot radius or something like that. So this is actually something that's already live. It's running in Melbourne, Australia with our partner Zero Latency VR. And it's one way that we've been able to go off and solve this problem today. We're also looking at ways to go and solve this problem in a little bit more of an elegant solution. So let me introduce you to another concept that we're working on over here. So this is a concept that we're actually in development now with a few partners around building a completely self-enclosed VR capable system for all VR applications out there. So what this does is this takes desktop and mobile parts and puts them on your back to give you the ability to power, like I said, any VR content that's out there, whether it be in the Oculus library or the Steam VR library. And what we've done is we've put a bridge battery inside the contraption itself, and then on the side here, you have 2 hot swappable batteries as well. So the entire thing weighs about 4.5 pounds, the compute device over here, and then the batteries weigh a little less than 1 pound each. And you don't need to have both in there if you don't want to, but if you want to go for like an extended period, maybe an hour or more, then you can put both packs in there. As you're running out of battery life, you can swap out the battery packs. Both of them can be disconnected because you've got the bridge battery inside the compute device itself, and yeah, you can just keep going almost infinitely without ever having to reboot the device or recharge it or anything like that. You just have separate recharging harnesses, if you will, or
packs.
Packs for the batteries, and yeah, it's kind of like an infinite run device here. So a lot of work went into building this so that it'd be shock and vibe ready for the type of environment that it's going into. And like I said, this is something that we've partnered with AMD on, and we're considering it bringing to market. We're looking for folks to give us feedback if this is something that they either want to use at home or in commercial applications like what Zero Latency and some others are doing out there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is this for consumers, or do you guys mean it to, is it for like, VR arcades or something like that? Like, how do you envision it coming out to the market?
This is kind of a single-purpose device, right? This is the way it's designed and everything, the form factor. It's tough to put this on a desk and use it as a desktop computer. So this is more going to be for a commercial application for VR arcades, of which we're seeing a bunch of them pop up all over the country now, all over the world really, starting with Zero Latency VR, and then we've got other partners as well that are doing it here in the US. But there's nothing that prevents folks from going out there and buying this if they want to use it at home. The economics may not make sense because this is going to be a little bit expensive and it's only kind of single purpose.
And you're still beholden to your house's lighthouses, your home's lighthouses as well.
It's only going to be operating in a 4x4 or 5x5 space. So what may make a little bit more sense is something like what Zero Latency did, where you can get an Alpha R2 or a small product like that and make it VR capable, and then use it as a multi-purpose device. You can use it as your desktop when you want to, a console when you want to, or slap it into the backpack solution and use it in that use case. So you kind of get a 3-in-1 product that way instead of like a single-purpose device and then still having to have a desktop or a notebook as well to do all your regular compute.
Can you walk us through what you're thinking about putting inside, like spec-wise? Yeah, I know you mentioned something about AMD and...
Yeah, We haven't announced the specs yet, but it's in a partnership with AMD with their graphics. So we're looking at Polaris generation graphics inside this product that will be VR compatible. I mean, AMD's done some really amazing work around bringing VR capable graphics to form factors and price points that are really disrupting what it's taken to be able to power VR up to now. So that's really interesting to use their architecture inside a product like this. And then we're looking at some of their CPUs as well as Intel CPUs for this. We have concepts of this already running, but we haven't decided fully yet on what the hardware architecture is. We're kind of leaving it open because some of our partners may have their preferences in the commercial application space as to what they want to work with or how they've designed their applications. They may be better optimized for one company or the other. So we're remaining flexible on exactly what we're putting in here.
Cool, and I'm guessing these things are using like SSDs or something, because as I understand it, moving around with a mechanical hard drive, probably not a great idea. It can destroy data or whatever. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, you don't really need a large capacity to put inside these things because they're typically running 1 or 2 apps, typically in a commercial type environment. So yeah, it's very easy for us to put an SSD in here. Even though mobile hard drives, they have very high shock and vibe properties out there. So this is not going to be like taking a beating in the sense that it's going to deal with massive shock. So it wouldn't really be an issue for us to put a notebook, a spinning hard drive in here. But SSD is going to be more likely to be the preferred option for the performance benefits of it and having one less thing to worry about in terms of a rotational drive.
I think getting rid of the cable is is a good thing, but the trade-off is you got to carry around this big backpack. Are you guys putting a lot of consideration into the ergonomics and the weight and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's going to be about 4.5 pounds, and using the bridge battery, you'll get about 30 minutes or so if you don't want to have any of these external battery packs alone on this. Being in VR for 30 minutes right now, that's a lot of time actually in VR. There's not a lot of people, except for maybe that Guinness World Record holder that did it for like over 24 hours. Not a lot of people that are spending that much time in VR in a session. But yeah, if you want to go in longer, then it does come with a little bit more weight for you to be able to do it. But yeah, overall, like I said, it's about 4.5 pounds. That was a very important design consideration for us. So the materials we're using, the components we put on the motherboard, for example, it's only the essentials you need in there because we're being so weight sensitive.
Gotcha. And then final question. I know it's still a prototype and early idea, but do you guys have any idea as to price or release date?
We actually don't. It was still just a concept. Like I said, we have prototypes running in the lab right now. We're looking for folks to give us feedback. At CES earlier this year, we asked folks to give us feedback on our OLED 13-inch laptop. We got an overwhelming response from that, and now we just launched that yesterday. So that's kind of what we're doing. We want to involve the community. We want to involve our fans and customers, listen to what they have to say, reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, and alienwarearena.com. If this is something you think you'd be really interested in, let us know. What do you think the price point should be? When would you like to see it launched? What do you think the components should be? And then we'll go collaborate together and bring it to market.
Cool, thank you, Frank.
Yes, thank you, Jimmy.
For more coverage of E3, check out GameSpot.com.